Hi, I'm Tony Giddens, and today I'm going to be talking about space exploration. So, the first thing I'm talking about is the early NASA projects, the shuttle program, the International Space Station, and space probes. So, NASA's early goals right off the bat, JFK set the goal for NASA, which was to get a man to the moon before any other country could. And first NASA had to do some things before they could just send a man to the moon. The first step was Project Mercury, which Project Mercury's goal was to orbit the Earth, get a man into space, and bring him home. And ultimately, they were successful in 1961 when they sent Alan Shepard to space. He orbited and came back, and that gave us the foundation for the next step, which was Project Gemini. Project Gemini's goal was to test longer missions and space docking, which would basically set the blueprints for getting a man to the moon and setting up the International Space Station. Then after Gemini was Project Apollo, which was to finally land on the moon and get home. And Apollo 11, they accomplished that goal, and they were the first ones to do it. Next were the space shuttles, which had many different space shuttle era began in 1977. The Enterprise was first used to make a test landing, but after that there was the Columbia, the Challenger, Discovery, Atlantis, and Endeavour programs. So the idea of the shuttle programs was to make a cheaper way of space travel than the previous rockets, which was very expensive. And I mean, it's still expensive, but it's a lot cheaper, I presume. So the Columbia's goal was to have a shuttle orbit the Earth. Then after that, Challenger was get another spacewalk. The Discovery was to deploy the Hubble telescope. The Atlantis was to deploy probes to Venus and Jupiter, and then the Endeavour was to repair the Hubble. The International Space Station, the goal of that was to study space, learn more about it, and ultimately it became a way of bringing together all the other nations that had gotten into space, like Russia, and a bunch of other European nations. And the space probes were to learn more about planets around us, such as Venus, Jupiter, and Mars. After watching the space tourism videos, I can honestly say that no, I would never do that in a million years. There's just so many things that can go wrong. I would be so nervous about that. So I don't think I'd ever go into space unless it was absolutely like 99.9% safe. Otherwise, I probably would not be a part of that because that's scary. For my articles, the first article I found was called NASA Calls It Quits for Opportunity Mars Rover After a 15-Year Mission, posted on February 13th. And it's about the Mars Opportunity rover that died. And it's crazy because this thing was only meant for 90 days and ended up lasting about 15 years. Luckily, we still have the Mars Curiosity rover to continue to study the Mars planet. And I remember I was reading about this on Twitter, and I remember I was just so sad. His last words were like, my battery's low, I'm dying. I don't know, it's a robot, but that's kind of sad. So I was a little heartbroken to hear about that. And the second article was called, Is That an Alien Probe? A Harvard astronomer thinks it might be, posted on February 8th. Apparently Hawaii astronomers found this picture of they just took this picture in the fall of 2017. It was a weird object floating through space, and Dr. Loeb from Harvard thinks it's a space probe. He believes it's from an alien civilization far away. Personally, I believe in aliens. I'm not sure. I'm sure you've seen the picture. It's just a large sort of cylinder-like object floating through space. I'm not sure that's evidence of an alien civilization, but I definitely believe in aliens, so I kind of want it to be. Because with how big our universe is, with even how big our galaxy is, and all the galaxies in the universe, I feel like there has to be intelligent life somewhere out there. That's just my opinion. Obviously, I have no way of knowing, but I'm pretty confident that there is, but that's just my opinion. And that's all I have for you guys this week. See ya.